This is my 3DS. This is my DS Lite that I used to play Game Boy games because my Game Boy Advance is out of batteries at the moment. This is my vinyl collection, and this is my manga collection. Needless to say, I like physical media a lot. But as you might be able to tell by the fact that I'm, talking to you through a digital screen, it's a digital world, which I find somewhat unfortunate. I did a survey among college students, posted a Google form on my school's Snapchat story about how they consume media, and all that stuff I just showed you unfortunately puts me in the minority. Physical media sales have been going down almost across the board in all forms of media, whether it's music, movies, video games, or even books. The fact is that people have just been buying less physical copies of them. So what the hell am I talking about? Well, the difference between physical and digital media may seem pretty obvious, but just in case, I'll explain it. When I'm talking about physical media, I mean a tangible object, whether it's a CD, DVD, cassette, or video game cartridge. Those are all examples of physical media. If you have something that you can throw across the room, it's physical media. Digital media, on the other hand, is often delivered through streaming services and downloadable files, with services such as Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Max, and then stuff like the PlayStation Store and the Google Play Store, as well as like Spotify and iTunes. I own all of this. If I wanted to sell my copy of Pokemon Soul Silver to another individual, no one could stop me. And I also couldn't get it back without buying it back. With digital media, this is not the case. My PlayStation library is huge. I've been building it for about 6 years, since I was 13 years old. And I started on the PS4. I've spent well over $1,500 on digital purchases through the PlayStation Store. And when upgrading from PS4 to PS5, I was broke as hell. So I decided to go with the cheaper alternative for the console in the digital version, which doesn't have discs. If I ever wanted to sell my digital PlayStation games, I would be arrested because it's illegal to sell a PlayStation account. Okay, more than likely I would just have the account banned, but also neither me nor the buyer would benefit from the account being banned. He buys it, it gets banned, he can't use what he just bought, and then if it gets banned, it can't come back to me. It's just gone. So unfortunately, I'm forever stuck owning Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville, even though it sucks. Also, at any point, they could just decide that they don't want you to have it anymore. With digital download products, they can just be pulled from sale completely out of nowhere. For example, the Scott Pilgrim vs. the World game was delisted from stores in 2014 and didn't go back up on sale until 2021, leaving 7 years where the game was simply not purchasable. But with movies and music, it gets even worse. What are you doing here, Jermaine Cole? What, deleting your most popular song on your album? What? I know it's called Might Delete Later. Why are you actually deleting later? That doesn't make sense. But no, seriously. Artists can just remove songs from streaming at will. And honestly, the same goes for movies. Did you ever watch Guava Island? You know, that movie from 2019 with Donald Glover and Rihanna as its stars? Yeah, me either, because I didn't find out about it until after it was pulled from streaming. You cannot watch Guava Island anymore, legally, but still, you cannot take Solanin by Ennio Asano from me unless you pry it from my cold, dead hands, because I own the book. And while we're talking about movies, we have to talk about the death of the special features. I want special features for my movies. And those previews and the little games they had, it was fun. I doubt I would remember The Lion King 1.5 even existed if it wasn't for that weird minecart game that like barely worked, but still. That's the thing I remember most from that movie, was the game you played on the DVD. That shit was sick. If you're an artist of any kind, you probably already know this, but digital media has made it harder for artists to make money. Streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music often pay their artists fractions of pennies per stream. And Spotify doesn't pay their artists at all unless a song has over 1,000 streams, which seems like not that much. But if you're a smaller artist, 1,000 streams is quite a lot. On my survey, only one person said that they didn't really listen to music much, and I think that they were lying. But anyways, almost everyone listens to music a little bit. The best ways to support the artists making your favorite music is by buying a vinyl or a CD or even just a shirt. Shout out Raccoon Tour. You could stream a song 1,000 times just by yourself, and it still wouldn't give the artist as much money as spending $20 on a shirt. My last major point is that streaming sucks. There are a lot of people who say that the digitization has made the media world a lot better for consumers by increasing the amount of content that is in circulation. And I understand why some people might think that. In today's world, you have endless options on what to watch or listen to. But do we as consumers really take advantage of that? I would argue that we don't, mainly due to the ways that streaming services work. Let's look at Netflix, who does not care about making good movies. Out of the top 20 things, shows, and movies streamed on Netflix, out of the movies, only one had a above average Metascore rating, with scores going as low as 31. That is a terrible movie. You have to actually be bad to get that kind of score. So why was it the 12th most watched thing on Netflix? Well, they only really care about making you sign up for the subscription. Once you're there and paying for it, they don't really care. You did the thing. They got the money, and now they can do whatever. They don't care that you like the content as long as you're paying for it. Hence why they release new movies and shows all the time. Some of them are good, don't get me wrong. Sex Education is my favorite show of all time, and it's a Netflix original. But often, they just get some big star and slap them on the poster, and then just make a kind of bad movie, simply for marketing. Because if you hear, oh, this new Netflix movie with Will Smith looks kind of good, you'll probably believe it, and you'll probably watch the movie, even if it's not good. So what's the point? Am I saying you should throw away your iPhone and only enjoy music through the good old Walkman? No, that's not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is that you should give your money to those who deserve it. And there is a lot more who deserve it than just streaming services and digital storefronts. But please, next time you're at a concert, go to the merch table. Buy a shirt or a CD or even a sticker. It helps the artist out more than you could probably know. If you're book shopping, skip the Kindle. Go to a bookstore. It doesn't have to be mom and pop bookshop. Even if it's Barnes & Noble, that's better than Amazon. And if you're playing games, get a physical copy if you can. I understand that one's really hard these days, especially PC gaming. Y'all don't really have the option, but come on. You just don't get stuff like that anymore, but you should.